Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. It's been about 9 days since we last did a live stream. That's one of the longest stretches without a live stream this whole year. Let's see, we have here in the chat here, we have Plays, Ben, Jake V, Pez. Let me go up a little bit, hold on. Okay, I just had to read that comment really quick. Let me go down a little bit more here. We have Jake in here, Caleb, as well as, let's see, Weather Warrior, Forsaken, Sam, Zachary, and everyone else in the stream who is watching and may not be chatting. Glad to have you all in here for another stream. Welcome to the stream. Let's switch on over to our main scene here. Everything looks good. No active alerts, obviously, across the U.S. We have been in an inactive pattern for severe weather. I don't know what to do because it's been so inactive. It's like there's nothing to look at all. I mean, we are watching the chance for severe weather. Now we've upticked a little bit more. You know, we have tomorrow to watch, as well as the low wind threats on Saturday and Sunday. And then we are watching the Western Pacific. Really was the main name of the game here over the last week or so, ever since Melissa passed Bermuda last Thursday. So yeah, I've really been watching the Western Pacific. Unfortunately, it seems like we lost almost 200 lives from a typhoon out there. Category 3 hit the central Philippines earlier this week. Or actually, I think that was late last week, into the weekend, right around into the weekend. Then we have another typhoon we're going to talk about a little bit out here for the Philippines again. And yeah, really, in terms of the U.S., we really only have tomorrow and that cold blast. Really, it is an active pattern for severe weather, or an active pattern for weather as a whole. I should rephrase that. It's an active pattern for weather as a whole, but it's not anything significant. We're not talking about anything like strong tornadoes, blizzards, even winter storms. We're not really talking anything like that. We're talking a few clipper systems that will bring a couple inches of snow here and there, a big blast of cold air, and then obviously your isolated severe weather. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it here. Now, you know me, this is just what I like to look at for the background here when I'm starting streams, but I'm going to go here, and we are going to switch over to WeatherWise, and another update from WeatherWise. It's really a weekly thing. They've added high pressures and low pressure centers, cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary boundaries directly inside of WeatherWise. Look at that. More updates from WeatherWise. Actually, let me pull this up and then pull this up and then combine them. Booyah. Perfect. All right, let's take a look at our severe weather threat here over the next few days. So for today, we've got two little risks for isolated severe storms. Could see a severe storm or two inside those green areas. Nothing too crazy. Tomorrow, we have a better risk for all hazards. We have that very large green area. That's your marginal risk, level 2, or rather level 1 out of 5 for severe weather. It's been so long, I just called a marginal level 2. But yeah, this dark green is a level 1 out of 5 for severe weather here, stretching up from West Virginia, Ohio, all the way down to the Gulf coastline in Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. We do have a low risk for a brief tornado or two. The best chance inside this area is definitely back up here in Kentucky, Tennessee, and then closer towards the coastal areas out here in Mississippi and Alabama. So really 2 areas to watch for the greatest tornado threat for tomorrow. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they get rid of most of this 2%, maybe keep a little bit down here or a little bit up here, or maybe just remove the entire thing as a whole. Wind risk is a very large 5% chance for damaging winds, and then the hail risk is the driving factor for that slight risk for severe weather there. 15% chance for some large hail. Honestly, I don't see the need for that slight risk, so I wouldn't be surprised if they remove much of that 2% risk and probably the entire 15% hail risk tomorrow. Very easily could see this downgraded to a level 1 out of 5 threat and no level 2 out of 5 there in the yellow. Just to zoom in a little bit more on that for you guys, because I know we do have some people watching from this area. Lawrenceburg up through Franklin, Nashville, Tennessee, back out towards just east of Clarksville here in Tennessee, all the way back up into Russellville, Bowling Green, Kentucky, back up towards Greensburg in Kentucky. So just keeping an eye on that yellow area mainly for the greatest risk of isolated severe storms going into tomorrow. And we'll go over that a little bit more in the model runs here in just a bit. But I do also want to point out the day 3 risk here, which is a very large marginal. I do think this marginal could be expanded slightly back up into Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. Just little expansion up to the northwest like that. But overall, really Saturday. Saturday's risk overall is just going to be widespread, isolated, damaging winds. That made no sense. Really just a large area of isolated damaging winds, right? So it's not like this whole area is not going to see damaging winds, but people here in Shreveport may be able to see damaging winds, and then also in central Mississippi, and then back up towards North Carolina, right? So a large area of isolated damaging winds. That's what I meant to say. A large area of isolated damaging winds for Saturday. And then we don't have Sunday's outlook, but we will probably have the same ordeal just further off to the east out in this region here. Kind of the coastal areas of Virginia, NC, South Carolina, Georgia, and into Florida. We'll have just the isolated chance of damaging winds over a decently large area going into Sunday as well. And we can't rule out a brief tornado both Saturday here, and then as well as Sunday, which we don't have an outlook for yet. But the best chance for a brief tornado out of these next 3 days, being Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is definitely tomorrow, which is Friday. Again, probably about Mississippi, Alabama border right down in here. And then back up in this slight risk area is where your greatest risk for tornadoes will be. All right, let's go and switch on over to some model runs here. I zoomed in or out here. I can't. Okay. My screen has changed. You know what? I think I changed that during the hurricane live stream to better align it up with Radar Omega. Any, mini, miny, mo. There it is. So let's see here. Can I pull that up? Hopefully that doesn't screw up my other overlays. Hold on. We are going to just... You know what? Actually, I'm going to bring that back down because I realized I'm on the wrong scene. That's my bad. We are supposed to be on this scene for our model data. Yeah, I'm pretty rusty. That's going to be a given. Actually, I kind of do like this scene better. Look, it lines up a lot more. It's just I can't see the time. So I can get you guys here, but I can't see the time up there. So I got to zoom out a bit. And then it's not even. Oh, well. Oh, well. You guys see the Euro? I did see the Euro severe threat in western Texas. I saw that. Welcome, Lucy. Glad to see you in here. Let's see. Twilight, welcome to the stream. Glad to see you in here as well. I'm going to switch scenes. There is no severe warning, but I do have to check the... Okay, yeah, we're good. I just had to check that real quick. I had to see if that screwed up any of my other scenes. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this on out. So this is going into tomorrow morning here. And now we did have a time change, so I've got to get used to the time change here. We're going to go to this area down in here. So 18Z is now 1 p.m. Eastern, and 17Z is now noon. It used to be 16Z was noon, but now 17Z is noon. So I'm gonna accidentally be an hour off on some of these call outs here for the time frame for tomorrow. But generally, we're looking at a couple severe storms starting to begin here towards about 3 p.m. Eastern time out there in around the Nashville, Tennessee area. At the same time, we'll have some convection, some of which could be strong. Our best chance for a severe storm is going to be on the more southern end of that convection going into tomorrow afternoon. Pulling this out further here, there's really not a whole lot. You could see we have some isolated updraft helicity tracks over here in southwestern Alabama. That's going towards 7 p.m., 6 p.m. That's 6 p.m. actually. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, that would be probably our best chance for severe weather from about 5, 6 p.m. all the way till about probably, give or take, right around 10 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be our window for severe weather. But really, we don't have that good of ingredients. Down here, we do have maybe a little front, and that's why these storms are producing more updraft helicity tracks, as there could be a little bit of a warm front there. Maybe a secondary front. You could see that sharp cutoff of the wind shear, sharp cutoff of the also the instability there. So those will mainly be hailers. We can't rule out a brief tornado, but really it's just mainly a hail threat there. We'll definitely have to watch towards sunset, like I said, towards about 6, maybe 8 o'clock there tomorrow evening into the night hours to see if that lower level jet can ramp up at all. And then going back up north here, not really anything big here, just some isolated strong storms firing along a cold front back from Ohio, southwest PA, all the way down through southern Kentucky. But you could see there in southern Kentucky, barely, but you could see in southern Kentucky that convection is a little bit stronger in that region, so that's why we have a slight risk out. But honestly, I do think they should drop that slight risk. I don't see that being needed at this point. I think we have a large areas under the gun for isolated severe weather, and somebody in Alabama or Tennessee or Kentucky may have that rotating thunderstorm that warrants a tornado warning. But it's not good enough for a 2% tornado risk or a slight risk for hail, in my opinion. Really not impressed by this setup. If we have to, let's go and look at the overall view of this, what's causing our isolated severe weather for tomorrow. And you can see this very large but very disorganized positively tilted trough here. The main tilt is back up here, back into Canada. So our primary jet streak is back up in here, and we have a secondary jet streak that's back down in here. This secondary jet streak, you could see the cold front right in about here, where we have that little decrease in winds right in these areas here. That's where our cold front and our storms will be firing at. So overall, a very poor setup. Not favorable for substantial severe weather. Now, there is a large area of ingredients that is in place, but really the forcing is the biggest issue for this event. We don't have a lot of that, a very strong cold front or a lot of pushing happening in the atmosphere. We don't have a lot of that clashing of cold and warm air that creates our updrafts, that creates our robust thunderstorms. There's not a lot of that happening. We have CAPE, yes, but that CAPE is also misaligned. The best CAPE is far down in here, whilst our best forcing is probably further up in this region up here. So it's just not a great setup for severe weather. Your ingredients don't overlap with each other. So it just creates a messy, sloppy, disorganized, not fun event. Not fun to track. Nothing that you really have to worry about. You're just keeping an eye on the sky just in case. And it's just a front that's going to ruin your afternoon tomorrow, but not be severe enough to where you have to, really pay attention. But, it's smart to have your phone fully charged and weather radio on just in case, because it's still a low wind threat for severe weather. So something could happen. You never know. And then Saturday, we're going to have to see where this instability axis sets up right in here. That's where our axis is here on the NAM 12K. And so your best chance for severe weather will be right along that boundary right in here and also back down in here. So wherever that boundary sets up at, wherever that instability stops moving, that's going to be where our threat for severe weather will be highest, because that's going to be where we could have a little bit of change in temperatures, and thus it will act like a forcing mechanism and potentially fire a couple of storms. And then even going into the overnight hours, Saturday night into Sunday morning, could still continue to see some isolated strong to severe storms back out in Louisiana, Mississippi, as that cold front comes in again. And that cold front is being driven by a much larger, but still pretty disorganized, positively tilted trough. Again, you can see the same ordeal here with a very large positively tilted trough. Your main low pressure is actually a dual low back up here in Canada. And you have two jet streaks again, your main jet streak right in here in blue, and then that secondary jet streak back out here in pink. And that secondary jet streak is what's providing our chance for severe weather on a Saturday. And again, same ordeal. You could see that little decrease in wind shear or decrease in the 500 millibar there. And that's a sign of storms beginning to fire. And as you can see, perfectly aligns with simulated reflectivity there. So not really looking at much on Saturday either, honestly. Just isolated damaging winds over a pretty large area. This entire area is under the gun for isolated damaging winds Saturday into Sunday morning. And then going into Sunday evening and overnight, that threat shifts just a little bit further off to the east, more towards the coastal areas there of the Carolinas, back out towards Florida. You can see not terrible instability there, so maybe a bit better chance for some damaging winds back out in southern Georgia, northern Florida, as you have a bit higher cape there. That's about almost 2,000 values right there. Yeah, between 1,500 and 2,100 instability. So maybe a little bit better chance for 60 mile an hour winds there, southern Georgia, northern Florida. But still, you don't have the best amount of forcing. Now, a little bit better, you could see there's really not a lot of defluence here, but you could see some defluence aloft closer to that trough here. And then maybe a little bit of a sign there. So you just have a large area of weak forcing. And so you're just going to end up with this very big slop of rain. That's what it's going to be. Just a big slop of rain across the mid-Atlantic. And those far southern storms and that leading cold front may be able to produce some isolated damaging winds. Again, southern Georgia, northern Florida, and the very coastal areas of the Carolinas into eastern Virginia as well. So not really anything too substantial, just isolated damaging winds and isolated small hail tomorrow, with a brief tornado being possible in central Tennessee, southern Kentucky, as well as a brief tornado being possible in southern Alabama. And then going into Saturday, wherever that boundary sets up, you can see the change in winds here. See how your wind speeds change? So you can see a boundary is set up right about somewhere in here. There's a boundary set up, because you could see the change in your wind direction. It moves from southeaster, or rather southwesterlies and southerlies, to northwesterlies and westerlies. So you've got a boundary right in there. And wherever that sets up, that's going to be your best chance for isolated damaging ones on Saturday, specifically over Mississippi, Alabama, back into Louisiana. And then again, Sunday, just went over that. Again, coastal NC, coastal South Carolina, coastal Virginia, and then southern Georgia and northern Florida. All right, now let's talk about the other side of this system that you've heard probably quite a bit about. And let's go ahead and pull this on out. So we're getting a large area of light to moderate snowfall into the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow across portions of Canada. We went over that in our last video. That still holds true. I don't know if how much snow this will bring. Definitely getting towards the heavier snowfall Saturday morning across southern Quebec and southwestern, southeastern Ontario there. Yeah, a lot heavier snowfall up there back into Quebec and Ontario. So that's where our highest snowfall totals probably will be out of the system Saturday morning, well removed from the U.S. And then you can see here that little clipper system. Now, this is very, very crucial. This is a very crucial freezing line here. You see that 540 line? It is going to depend greatly, emphasizing greatly on where that freezing line is, because at this point on this particular run, it is barely on the northern side of that low pressure. You can see your low pressure is like right in here. So that results in a little bit more rain towards the Midwest, but it does, somehow the NAM does indeed still bring a good amount of snow towards Wisconsin and Iowa out of this, despite that freezing line being a little bit more south than other models. So if we go to and just show you this, it does bring a pretty good amount of snowfall here to Iowa, Wisconsin, and northern Illinois. I think this is on the heavier side of things, really. I think this is more of the, it depends how you look at it. If you're a winter lover, a best case scenario. If you're a winter hater, a worst case scenario, could see upwards of 4, maybe 5 inches of snowfall in spots here Sunday night. Let me get the timing on that. Yeah, Saturday night into Sunday morning. But I really do believe that's on the heavier side of things. And it just depends greatly on where that freezing line is. Either way, I think Ontario is going to be the winner here with this snowstorm, if you can call it that, because it seems like Ontario's got the best chance for that heavier snowfall, depending on how much that low pressure deepens. So you could see big difference here in the GFS and the NAM. The biggest difference is, look at that dip. This dip right in here. If we go back to, I wonder if this, yep, that shows up on the 500 millibar. That is what provides the energy for this snowfall on the northern side of your low pressure. So that's helping to deepen your low pressure and organize your low pressure. And because of that, you could see it really gets to a really good low pressure going with a cold front there, warm front back up in there. And that provides a pretty good snowstorm for Michigan and Ontario. But the GFS, it's just a disorganized low. You could still see that little indent in the jet stream here. However, it's very much displaced, and you can even see a little bit of that indent right in here too. You can see how it changes, that 540 line changes from more of a southwestern to northeast orientation to more of a west to east orientation there. And that provides less amounts of moisture and a less organized low pressure, and thus less snowfall across Ontario, Michigan, and back out into Illinois. So 2 different scenarios here. Something in the middle is more likely. So I don't think we'll see 5 inches of snowfall across Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois, but I do think we could see 1 to 2 inches of snowfall across that area. I don't think we'll see a foot and a half of snowfall across Michigan and southern Ontario, but I do think we could see 5 inches of snow in Michigan, and then maybe upwards of 8 inches of snow in Ontario. Out of this, I guess we could call it a snowstorm for Canada, but for the US, it's really not going to be a snowstorm. Another thing I want to mention here, I mentioned this in my video about the moisture behind this system. The GFS a couple days ago was picking up on, and is still really doing a bad job with the amount of moisture available out here across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley into the Tennessee Valley. And it really doesn't bring any snow to those areas. But if you look at the European model run, the Euro is doing a much better job with this, and typically verifies a lot more frequently than the GFS model run with this type of event and setup. So I would be definitely paying attention to these areas in here. A lot of you guys haven't seen your first snowfall, and this very much could bring some flakes to much of the mid-Atlantic and a very large chunk of the Midwestern U.S. Again, obviously the best place for that's Ontario, back in Michigan, right in here, but still back into Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina. You guys could get in on some snowfall too here. And we could even have potentially a pretty major lake effect event out in northwestern Indiana. That's very uncertain right now. Some models say up to a foot and a half, whilst others have next to nothing occurring. So very big model differences here. Very big amount of uncertainty on what's going to happen with that lake effect. So we'll need to watch that. And I think the main thing that's going to come down to is where our trough is. So you could see the GFS here. The big difference between the GFS and the Euro, sorry for switching it so much. Look at that's a huge difference between the GFS and the Euro. The Euro has your main trough way lower, so what it's able to do is it's able to pull in a lot more of that colder air, and just that better amplified trough probably helps a little bit with moisture. Whereas the GFS, it's a lot more sloppy of a trough. So that's what it's going to come down to for our lake effect event out there in Indiana. And also our flurries out here in the Midwest back towards the Tennessee Valley. So really nothing is set in stone here for the winter event, the snowfall across the Midwest. There's a lot of uncertainty. I'll pay close attention to it, but I don't expect anything significant. I do think we could see widespread flurries across this area going into Sunday night and into Monday morning. And I do think we will see a decent amount of snow accumulate across these areas going into that same time frame, maybe slightly earlier, Sunday afternoon into all the way into Monday. Actually, beginning Saturday night all the way until Monday afternoon there. Also, another big difference here is temperatures. You can see the GFS really progresses those temperatures further east quicker, but either way, there is going to be a very large area of the U.S. that ends up with very cold temperatures. So Monday morning, if you guys got school or if you have to work, make sure you bring a jacket because much of the U.S. is going to be freezing cold with this big, huge cold front pushing through. You can see all these changes in the isobarbs here. So really good trough to bring freezing cold weather. Not great for a snowstorm or a lake effect event, at least on the GFS side of things. But it is really good for bringing that Arctic blast way further south than we normally see this time of year. Now, this is not anything too crazy. It is pretty early. Early November is pretty early for a big blast. Typically, our big blasts start to happen towards the end of November. We really start to see them. But this is towards the early portion of November. I mean, we're only on the 6th here of November, and this blast is going to be entering the U.S. starting tonight. You can see tonight that blast begins to infiltrate the northern portions of the U.S., and then we'll really feel it tomorrow morning here, Saturday morning here. We'll really start to feel that blast entering much of the U.S. So definitely a very cool amount of temperatures for sure. It's nothing like insane. It's just going to be cold weather. It's going to be more of an annoyance, just like winter typically is. It's just going to be annoying how cold the temperatures are. I don't think it will be anything crazy. Like, we're not going to be seeing negatives in many areas or anything like that. Now, isolated areas could have wind chills into the upper single digits there, especially in North Dakota, but it shouldn't be anything like extremely crazy, historic. Let me put it that way. It shouldn't be historic. That's what I'm trying to say. It shouldn't be historic. It's just a little bit abnormal to see it this soon. And we'll continue with this pretty active pattern, honestly, in terms of cold temperatures. We should have another 1 to 2 chances of a blast infiltrating much of the U.S. For the middle of November, we'll have a chance, and then probably the end of November. But both of these shouldn't bring much of a snow chance. Really, the only chances for snowfall, measurable snowfall, will stay across the northern portion of the U.S., right up in here. Really, the northern portion of the U.S. will be our main chance for snowfall in November. If you're anywhere south of that, really, flurries are your best bet. That's about it. So I really don't think Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, anywhere south of that pink line, I really don't think anybody south of right in here is going to be seeing much snow at all in much of November. We'll be limited to maybe some isolated flakes here. Let's pull out on the GFS and see. Yeah, you can see this is the GFS all the way out, and it really stops right where I drew that pink line. Now, of course, higher elevations here, California, back up into Colorado, Wyoming, of course, Montana, these higher elevations, obviously, right? All you guys are still going to be getting your snowfall because you're in the higher elevations, you're higher up, so it's colder, so when you get moisture, it ends up being snow rather than rain. But in terms of the more foothill areas of these regions, not going to be seeing much snow for the month of November. And we'll have to see how this translates into December because the fact we're getting these blasts very early may mean it's kind of a 50-50 chance, but it may mean a little bit more of a milder December as well. I don't know if... Lord have mercy. Yeah, here's the CPC. This is their winter forecast for November, December, and January. And my goodness, does it ever reflect a very below average chance for precipitation across much of the southern and southeastern U.S. And I honestly think that will extend more into Oklahoma and more into Texas there throughout January and February. And those temperatures I definitely would expect to be more above average across portions of Texas and Arizona and New Mexico there. So I this is kind of like, it's not going to be hot. Above average is not hot temperatures. There's just a better chance for slightly above average temperatures here. But honestly, winter outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center honestly have never been good. I hate to say that, but they've never verified. I looked at some data earlier, some observations compared to the forecast, and they've never verified. Just flat out, never have verified. That's typical. I don't think anybody's winter forecasts have verified very well because it's hard to predict a winter season. It's not like a tornado season where you can predict, generally who's going to get above average and below average on risks for severe weather. And it's not like hurricane season where you can give a general number. Winter season is a lot of things. It's cold weather, it's the ice storms, and it's also the snowstorms. And you can never predict the snowstorms well whatsoever because they always bring different totals each one. So winter is just probably the hardest season to forecast. End of story. I've never been able to forecast winter easily, and I've never seen anyone else be able to forecast it easily. So I'm very curious to see how this translates into December. You can see they have a very large area of above average temperatures going into the middle of November. I think that will be the case. I think that will be the case for much of us through the middle and end of November. But again, I think we'll see one or two Arctic blasts that infiltrate the U.S. So when those blasts aren't in the U.S., it's above average. But when they're in the U.S., it's average to below average. So we're going to be rotating between that for November. And then this is kind of hit or miss here. I could tell you this. I 1,000,000,000% agree with this. Below average all the way up into Kansas, much of Texas and Oklahoma. You guys don't look like you'll be at much of a chance for precipitation at all over the next 2 weeks. If we look at total precipitation here throughout the next, this is all the way through, what's today? Thursday? This is literally 2 weeks from now. And there's like barely any precipitation. You could see one front does come through exactly 2 weeks from today. But outside of that, if I just switch back to that precipitation here, I'll go to the newest one, actually. I mean, you could see really nothing. Is seriously, like, it's literally, you guys are going to be pretty much no precipitation across much of Texas, Oklahoma, and much of Kansas for the next 2 weeks straight. Just no precipitation whatsoever. And you can see where a more active setup for snowfall and rainfall will be back up here in the northeastern U.S. So it's a very weird winter pattern right now, but honestly, it's going about as expected. Above average temps for much of November with the isolated big blast of cold air. And I'm still sticking with this. A few clipper systems, but really no big snowstorms. We still have a chance for one snowstorm somewhere in the U.S. through November, but just one good chance. If we can get a good blast of cold air to match up with a low pressure, we could get a good snowstorm somewhere in the central U.S. But really, we're not going to be seeing any of that until December, late December. And then finally, January, February should be the months that we pop off for snowfall. January, February should be very much above average for snow and below average for temperatures. And also with this, obviously progressing with time, we also can discuss tornado season. It's very preliminary at this point. We're still about 90 days or so away. Not 90. Let me see. I think it's more like 190. No, not actually. Let's see. I want to say 90 days because I want it to be quicker, but yeah, 115 days till tornado season. Mark your calendars, man. Count down the days. 115 days till tornado season, so very much early to be talking about tornado season here, but it's winter. What else am I going to talk about? I'm going to, of course, go to the next season. So, yeah, tornado season. The current setup we have, at least what it looks like we're going into, we'll probably be talking about more of an average tornado season. I don't really see anything pointing towards a well above average or above average tornado season like last year or this year. So I think the plains will return. I think we'll have better opportunities for severe storms in Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. But right now, it doesn't seem too above average for tornadoes next year. But of course, we'll once we get towards middle of February, we'll really start putting in those numbers. I'll start making them graphs, and maybe I can get another tornado season forecast out. We'll have to see. Is there a fire ongoing out there in Arizona? Because I see a lot of smoke on satellite. Holy crap. That's a lot of smoke. I just saw that start to spark up there. Is there a fire risk out there today? We were in a fire risk, I think it was 2 days ago at this point out here in Virginia. Oh, that's freaking rainfall. Fire. Oh, well, they're not even into fire risk. The fire risk is more to the east of them, well east of them, so no, actually. I can't see any smoke from this. Yeah, can't see any from radar. Let's see. Yeah, but on a good note, our hurricane season is pretty much over. We'll have a isolated chance for a spin-up vorticity blob here and there, maybe a brief tropical storm, but hurricane season's pretty much done. I hate how we ended on such a horrible note with Melissa earlier this, or rather last month, over a week ago now, believe it or not. I think it was 9 days ago when Melissa made landfall in Jamaica. I know time flies. Time flies very, very quick when you're not paying attention to it. So I hate how we have to end on a really bad note there. I mean, we lost, I think it was at least 90 people, I believe is what I said in my tweet earlier. Yeah, at least 90 people. We lost at least 90 people. And then from the typhoon out there in the Philippines earlier, over the weekend, in the central Philippines, 130 people plus at least 130 people missing, at least 143 dead, and then about 500,000 people displaced. So a very significant and very impactful typhoon over the weekend out here in the Western Pacific. And speaking of typhoons, we got another one to talk about. We got this typhoon out here, currently a tropical storm, but it will gradually intensify over the next 2 days here. Tropical storm, Category 1, Category 2, Category 3. And then we could see some rapid intensification here between this point and landfall. There's a big question mark, though, because the system may be too big. If it ends up being a big system, which it is at the moment, I'll show you in just a minute, then that large area of circulation may not translate to rapid intensification. Typically, when you have a large circulation like what we have out here in the Western Pacific, I'll go ahead and show you. Yeah, this is just normal satellite imagery in the Western Pacific, by the way, for those who don't track this basin much. This is just normal. Seeing intense convection like this, like, that's just a normal thing in the Western Pacific. It's crazy. But yeah, you could see we have this huge, giant area of very strong convection all around this whole region here. Very nice outflow winds too. Really good outflow there. And then your main circulation is very, very large right in here. It's a very, very large circulation. Actually, that main circulation seems to be right in here. So maybe not as large as I was anticipating, but still a very large circulation. So when you have that large of an eye there, when you first start, that's definitely going to promote more gradual intensification, which we should be able to see here in this case. This is using the HAFSA model run here. And you can see it goes from a tropical storm now to a typhoon sometime tomorrow afternoon. Category 2 sometime probably Saturday morning. Category 3 Saturday afternoon. And you can see that's pretty gradual, right? It's not very rapid, but it's still pretty quick, honestly. Goes from tropical storm to Cat 3 in about 48 hours or so, maybe a little bit longer. And then this would be the point where we have the best chance for any further intensification. But you can see it's not really that rapid. It really never rapidly intensifies, to be honest with you. We never really see this thing go from like a tropical storm to like a Cat 4 in 24 hours. Nothing like that. Now, by definition, rapid intensification is about 20... What is it? I forgot what it was. I thought it was based off of millibar, but now I forgot. I gotta check. 35 miles per hour in 24 hours. So, in that case, this is probably going to rapidly intensify, honestly. Because that's really not a whole lot. 35 miles per hour in 24 hours, I think that can do this. It could do that easily. From tomorrow night, Friday night, all the way till Saturday, yeah, it's going to rapidly intensify right there. It's going to drop probably 30 millibars going from tomorrow night to Saturday night. So it probably will rapidly intensify in that short time frame. It honestly probably will. These models, they've really been fluctuating here over the last couple of days. Yeah, you could see. So very gradual for the next 24 hours, right? Very slow intensification for the next 24 hours. Very, very gradual. And then if that eye can tighten up tomorrow night, which it looks like it does very well on the H-Dwarf model run, it becomes pretty small here tomorrow night, and that allows it to quickly intensify tomorrow night into Saturday night. But then that eye becomes very large, and it's only a little bit more millibar drops, and then it kind of just flattens out with intensity there. So we will have a little case of rapid intensification here tomorrow night into Saturday night, where it goes from probably category, I'd say probably mid-tier Cat 1 tomorrow night, all the way to probably mid to upper tier Cat. That's probably mid-tier Cat 4 at that point. So probably mid-tier Cat 1 to mid-tier Cat 4 from tomorrow night to Friday. My goodness, from tomorrow night to Saturday night. And then if it does hit Cat 5, it would be a very gradual hit to Category 5 intensity. It'd go from mid-tier Cat 4 Saturday night, and then it might take all the way till Sunday morning before it gets to Cat 5. So gradual intensification for the next 24 hours, and then rapid intensification for 24 hours, and then very slow intensification up till landfall after that. That's what it looks like. So very slow, quick, very gradual. That's what it seems like. Even with the large eye, I know some other model runs were showing a lot weaker landfall here. I don't know if the GFS... Yeah, see, the GFS is still on board with that. That larger eye disrupts it, and it never really gets to Cat 5 status because of that, so... But it seems like somewhere around there. I do think this will get to Category 4, and it will likely have a really good chance to get to Cat 5 for landfall in the Philippines. They shifted that very well south from this morning, because I checked that this morning and it was considerably more north. Ensembles, Western Pacific. Yeah. Let me look at the ZRZ. No, the ensembles never really changed, but their track looks a lot farther south. I don't know how populated this region of the Philippines is, but hopefully they're aware of this typhoon. I know it's I'm pretty sure it's a different name out in the Philippines, right? I'm pretty sure the Philippines name systems differently than the JTWC, so I'm pretty sure typhoons have two different names, one from the JTWC and then one from the Philippines weather service there. What is their name? Philippines Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. Yes, that. Pretty sure they name it differently. So, yeah, I think that's the main stuff I wanted to talk about. Went over the typhoon, went really well over the severe weather, went very well over the pattern here in the US over the next couple days. That was really the main stuff. That's 45 minutes right there. So if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and ask away. If I missed any of your comments, put them in again so I could read them again, because sometimes, a lot of times in these briefings, I get way too distracted on just going with the flow and talking about the weather instead of interacting with you guys. I got to get better at doing that. Yes, the new storm in the Western Pacific is very large. There was a fire north of Roanoke earlier, but I don't know if it's still going. Do you know if it was a forest fire or Oh, gracious day. Oh, that ain't no small fire. That's a very obvious fire. Look at the burn on satellite there. Clear fire ongoing north of Roanoke. Holy crap, I'm probably... Oh, that's smoke's going into Pennsylvania County. I thought I was one county over, my bad. Yeah. I didn't realize that at all. Our fire risk was yesterday, not today. That is more of a forest fire. That's... Let me look at the counties again. Yeah, that should be up closer to Covington, right? Yeah, there's Covington. Yeah, I think that is up here near Newcastle. Yeah, that's like right up here. That's near this region. It's right up in here. Is tropic/Gulf hurricane season over? It's not officially over until the end of this month, but I expect nothing for the rest of the month. So, is it over? By definition, no. But nothing. It doesn't seem like it's going to be getting active again, really. You kidding me, Radar Omega? You crashed? I just had a major crash from Radar Omega. What the heck? What in the world? Radar Omega is killing my computer right now. Okay. I'll bring you guys back now. There you go. Nope. Okay, I gotta close Radar Omega. Holy crap, close it. It's literally starting to kill my computer. I gotta task kill it. What in the world is it doing? Radar Omega, task kill. Holy crap. Like, literally, my computer was bugging out. I'm not reopening that app. Oh my goodness, I've never had that before. Gracious day. Let's see. Yeah, so basically what I mean for hurricane season is there's nothing outlined from the National Hurricane Center or anything like that, but the official hurricane season goes throughout the rest of November. The only chance, and very slim, very small chance we have for tropical development is back out here in the Southwest Caribbean. Right in there. But that chance is very low. Of course, the GFS spins something up. I bet no other model has anything forming in that area. Yeah, you can see the Euro just has a big area of broad vorticity. That's pretty much all we're going to see. Yep, and then the Canadian takes it into the Eastern Pacific, so... Hurricane season is pretty much done, but I wouldn't rule out a weak tropical storm towards the middle and end of November in the Southern and Central Caribbean. Hello, Void. Welcome to the stream. Let's see here. yeah, so if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and share the stream with your family, friends, social media. Consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all. We will be live eventually later on next week. I'm not for sure, actually, now that I think of it. I really don't know. I was going to say I was going to go live early next week, but honestly, I don't know when the next content will be. We're just going to be winging it until something really starts picking up. We're just going to be winging it. We really are just going to be winging it on this channel. I'll try to update you guys on when a video or stream may come out beforehand with the community post tab like I did earlier. But that may not go too well. We'll just see. I don't really know when I will be live next, to be completely honest with you, but yeah, this is the wind chills here from Weatherwise GFS 18Z model run here. This is going into Monday morning. Tuesday morning, I am you know what? That's not horrible. 24 Fahrenheit. It's definitely stay inside and don't go outside at all weather, but I mean, it's not like terrible. I'm probably going to lose power from cold temperatures. Literally the other day, lost power because of light rainfall. Like, hello? I mean, it's not terrible. Let's see the coldest we could find. I'm betting it's probably up here. Yep, -3, -4. Yeah, that's probably where it's going to be the absolute coldest, is in northern North Dakota. Right up in here. Hope all is well with you too, Void. Why the heck is Lucky spamming me? What did he do? Oh. Nothing important. Your power lines might be worse than ours. Ours are horrible. Ours are terrible. Literally, I'm not even kidding. Light rain made the power go out like 3 different times the other day. And then literally we could have a gust of 5 miles per hour and there's a high chance we'll lose power. It's literally insane. And I know we had a severe storm, 60-mile-an-hour winds came through like 2, 3, actually, it's probably about 5 months ago at this point now, actually. And 60-mile-an-hour winds, actually, it did verify, and it was observed 60-mile-per-hour severe. And we were out of power the entire day. I went to a friend's house because I'm like, I am not sleeping with no power. Sorry. Not on a hot summer day, bro. I'm going for some AC. We lost it at like 2 p.m. and it was out all the way until the next morning. So our power grid is horrible out here. But somehow I remember early last year we had a bad ice storm and we never lost power. Like we had a horrible ice storm. I'm pretty sure I saw a photo of I measured it with a ruler. It was like a quarter inch of ice, which is really bad out here. And I never lost power with that. So I don't get it. It's like sometimes the power just gets knocked out from 5-mile-an-hour winds, and then other times it can withstand a foot of snow. Like, what in the world? But on another note, me and Lucky are planning to do the 10-hour live stream. I'm thinking probably next Sunday is the best chance for that. I have to get with Lucky. It's going to probably be with either next Sunday or the one following that will be our 10-hour gaming live stream on this channel. On this channel will be probably, the plan is to start up like about 3 p.m. or just before then, and then go till all the way just after midnight or something. I gotta check the date. So next Sunday would be November 16th, And then the one following that will be November 23rd. Those are the two best chances. We were going to do it Saturday, but a lot of you guys seem to be more available on Sunday, at least according to when we did a poll earlier. I'll put up another poll after this live stream on the community post. See, another big reason is Lucky won't be able to be here until late on Saturday. So if we do it on Sunday, we'll have Lucky most of the live stream. But if we do it on Saturday, he'll only be here like 4 hours. And it won't be very, very late. Like, we'll start between 1 and 3 p.m. and then we'll go all the way till like about midnight. So, you know, most of you guys will probably miss like the last 2 to 4 hours of the stream, but you'll be able to watch like, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours. Playing what? Twisted on Roblox, Helicity on Roblox. We'll probably do the new NASCAR game, NASCAR 25, Outbreak. We may even do some other games too, unrelated to weather completely. But we'll do plenty of games, and we'll probably do some single player games too, because I imagine, like, you know, we'll have plenty of time. So a bunch of stuff. But I'll let you guys know which day it will be. It'll either be next Saturday or Sunday, or the next Saturday or Sunday. I'll check with Lucky, and then I'll do a community post. Yes, we'll be playing with viewers, yes. Outbreak and Roblox and NASCAR 25, all those will be playing with viewers. Playing with viewers should be the majority of it. But anyways, I'm going to head off here. We've hit the end of our stream. I'm not going to open Radar Omega since it decided to be very rude to me. So I will let you guys know. I'll let you guys know here a little bit after this live stream. Let me check with Lucky first, and then I will let y'all know. So give me like 10 minutes or so to get that community post up, and then I will, and then you guys can go vote on that on the community post. So I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Thank you, mods, from Mod Chat. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will catch you guys whenever the next content is, because I have no idea when that may be. So anyways, stay safe, watch through weather and the tropics, and I'll catch you in the next one. Again, thank you, mods, from On Chat. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch your weather in the snowfall. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. Thank you, Mods from On Chat. Goodbye.